Come you by the salmon fishing, come you by the ropery, saw you, my dear sailor laddie, sailing on the raging sea. I come by the salmon fishing, I come by the ropery, I saw your dear sailor laddie, sailing on the deep blue sea. Come you by the salmon fishing, come you by the ropery, join us at the Salmon Bothy every Friday virtually.
Hello Portsoy, and welcome to the latest Friday Frolics Spectacular, brought to you by folk at the Salmon Bothy, Portsoy. For anyone who doesn't know, the Fats B, or folk at the Salmon Bothy, is a folk club that before lockdown restrictions met in the Salmon Bothy in Portsoy on the third Friday evening of every month. We hope it won't be too long before we can get back to normal and be able to welcome folk to come along and sing, play, sit and listen. You'll even get a cup of tea and a nice biscuit included in the minimal door cost price. And of course there is a raffle which is at additional cost, but it does have miraculous and outstanding prizes.
Miraculous prizes, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, well there's always a bottle of port, isn't there? That's quite miraculous.
Well,
what it does to you anyway.
We are folks, Ron and Anne Gardner,
That's me.
and we are the MCs for tonight's show. We'll start the night off with a song written by Allan Taylor, and to avoid any confusion, this song was written by that Allan Taylor who is not from Afford and who mustn't be confused with our good friend Allan Taylor who is from Afford. But the song was written by that Allan Taylor who is from Brighton, way down in the Shires, and nowhere near Afford. Now, we've got that nicely cleared up, so the song needs no introduction. It's a well-worn old favourite called It's Good to See You. It's good to see you, so good to see you. Oh, how I've missed you since I've been gone. I've crossed the ocean, I've travelled many lands. It's good to see you, to be in your home. Was something in me that made me wonder, was many lands I had to see. When I was far away in the land of strangers, I knew my good friends would think on me. It's good to see you, so good to see you. Oh, how I've missed you since I've been gone. I crossed the ocean, I've travelled many lands. It's good to see you, to be in your home. When a man is down on his fortune, he stands alone, sometimes alone. He looks around him for an open hand. Sometimes there's one, sometimes there's none. It's good to see you, so good to see you. Oh, how I've missed you since I've been gone. I've crossed the ocean, I've travelled many lands. It's good to see you, to be in your home. Oh, it's a wonder when it comes to friendship. No matter how far, no matter how long, there's there's a constant thread that's never broken, that ties you to your friends and home. It's good to see you, so good to see you. Oh, how I've missed you since I've been gone. I've crossed the ocean, I've travelled many lands. It's good to see you, to be in your home. It's good to see you, to be in your home. Well, thanks Ron, that was just grand. Well, having sung a song written by that Alan Taylor, who is a good friend but from Brighton and not from Afford, it's only fit that we now have a song from this Alan Taylor, who is our good friend from Afford. So let's have Allan from Afford singing The Sodger's Cairn.
This is a song poemed by Mary Simon, recorded by Jim Reid. It's called, if I could remember what it's called, it'd be good. It's called The Soldier's Cairn. Oh, gie me a hill with the heather on, with the reeds and drapping down, or the mist of the morning rising soft, with the wreck out a wee grey tune. Gie me a how with the long glen road, for it's there mong when and fern. Do you mind on't well? Are you hearing, Dod? We're begging the Sodger's Cairn. Oh, far is the Flanders land, we from it France atween, and there's monies a how o' them baith a day, as a hap o' the gardens green. It's them we ken that's lying there, and it's nae we steen nor earn, but we bracken hearts and memories sair, we're begging the Sodger's Cairn. Oh, doon, licht doon, the Dallen sings, in a mind of the old Sach tree, far a wee loon Swanie's hanging yet, that's deed at Picardy, in elke wind for the convals brew, bends I the bus o' Earn, for e'en he fottled a name that knew, oh, read on the Sodger's Cairn. Oh, build it fine and build it fair, till it leaps to the meerland sky, mair nor death is symbol there, but tears or triumphs by. There's a dream divine o' a starward way, where laggard feet would learn. It's a new Er's cornerstone we lay, as we fashion the Sodger's Cairn. O lads in your plighties, lying still, in lands we'll never see, this lonely cairn on a hameland hill is a' that our love can do, but fine and bra we'll build it a', but oh my bairn, it's a cradle's croon that'll lie bladoon to me fae the Sodger's Cairn. Aye, fine and bra, we'll build it a', but oh, my bairn, it's a cradle's croon that'll lie bloodin'. To me, fae the soldier's cairn. The soldier's cairn. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Allan. A great song, and ever so well sung.
Indeed so.
Now we're going to have a tune from a great supporter of all things musical in Portsoy. We didn't know until fairly recently that she actually played an instrument at all, until it was revealed that she was a recorder player of outstanding skill. She makes a regular contribution to the show every week, so let's go and find out what Debbie Mudie has for us this week.
Hi everybody, Deb's here. So this week I'm treating you to a bit of Irish rather than Welsh, and I've had a go at playing The Meeting of the Waters, which I'm sure quite a few of you will know. So enjoy that. See you again. Bye.
Well, thanks Debbie, that was great. Nice to hear the recorder getting used so much here. I think it's always been a very underestimated instrument, and it's great to see that it's become so popular in Portsoy. The recorder capital of Moray, I think we could say. I can just see Portsoy Recorder Band playing alongside Robert Legg's mob someday in the socially distant future. The pipe band and the recorder band together, that would be the game. Right, we're going to have a song now that takes its name from a town in County Antrim in Northern Ireland. Originally written by a poet who died in 1745. That was just a year before Culloden. And in a later year, 220 years later, Dominic Bean wrote the middle verse, which was added. And Dominic was the first person to record the song as we know it on an LP called The Irish Rover, which was released in 1965. Have you guessed what the song is yet? I'll bet Dick Elliott has. The song, of course, is Carrickfergus, and we go over to hear it sung by Paul Radtke.
I wish I was in Carrickfergus only for nights from Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean, the deepest ocean, for my love to find. But the sea is wide, and I cannot swim over, nor have I wings that I could fly. If I could find a handsome boatman to ferry me over to my love and I. My childhood days bring sad reflections of happier times so long ago. My boyhood friend, like my old relations, have all passed on now, like the melting snow. But I'll spend my days in endless roaming, soft as the grass, and my bed is free. To be back there in Carrickfergus on that long road now down to the sea. And in Kilkenny it is reported that a marble stone's there as black as ink, with gold and silver I would support her. I'll sing no more now till I get a drink. Well, I'm drunk today and I'm seldom sober, a handsome rover from town to town. But I'm sick now, and my days are numbered. So come all ye young men and lay me down. I wish I was in Carrickfergus only for nights from Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean, the deepest ocean, for my love to find. But the sea is wide, and I cannot swim over, nor have I wings that I could fly. If I could find a handsome boatman to ferry me over to my love and I. Carrickfergus.
Well, thank you, Paul. That's the way I like to hear that song sung. Lots of emotive feelings. Next up tonight is Iona Fyfe, who's always a very welcome guest at the Salmon Bothy. And it's lovely to hear Iona having a wee change of style and doing a contemporary song written by Bob Dylan in 1962. And it's still as popular as ever it was. But I can remember when you would have been thrown out of a folk club for singing a Bob Dylan song. Thankfully that attitude has gone and we can all enjoy wee gems like this one. So sock it to them, Iona, with Don't Think Twice.
Here's a wee Bob Dylan classic, Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. Ain't no use to say wonder like me if you don't know by now. Ain't no use to say wonder like me, it'll never do somehow. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. Don't think twice, it's alright. Ain't no use in turning on your light, babe. The light I never know. Ain't no use in turning on your light, babe. I'm on the dark side of the road. Still I wish there's something you would do or say to try and make me change my mind and stay. We never did much talking anyway, so don't think twice, it's alright. Ain't no use in calling out my name, babe, like you never done before. Ain't no use in calling out my name, babe, I can't hear you anymore. I'm not thinking and wondering and walking down the road. I once loved the lad, a child I'm told. I gave him my heart, but he wanted my soul. But don't think twice, it's alright. So long, honey, babe. Where I'm bound, I cannot tell. Goodbye is too good a word, babe. So I'll just say fare thee well. I ain't saying that you treated me unkind. You could have done better, but I don't mind. You just kinda wasted my precious time. But don't think twice, it's alright. Walking down that long, lonesome road, babe, where I'm bound, I cannot tell. Goodbye is too good a word, babe. So I'll just say fare thee well. I ain't saying that you treated me unkind. You could have done better, but I don't mind. You just kinda wasted my precious time. But don't think twice, it's alright. Don't think twice, it's alright.
Okay, well thanks Iona, that was great. It's really nice to hear you dabbling with one of the contemporary classics and having a wee change of style, as Anne said. Over now to a couple of blocks that do a fantastic amount of playing to entertain the Moray coast. Some of you may have guessed that I'm referring to Ronan and Neil, collectively known as Moonshine Madness. Tonight they're going to give us a Johnny Cash classic, which I suppose is fairly topical for this type of time of lock-ins, etc. So sing along, rattle the bars in time with the Folsom Prison Blues.
I hear the train coming, she's coming round the bend, while I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. While I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, time keeps dragging on, and that train keeps rolling way down to San Antonio. Well, when I was a young boy, my mother told me, son, I'll always be that good boy and stay with my guns. When I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die, and I hear that lonesome whistle, I hang my head and cry. Folks, he did some fancy dining come. They probably drinking coffee and smoking fancy cigars. I knew I had it coming, I knew I can't be free. But them people keep on moving, that's what tortures me. If they bring me from this prison, if this railway train is mine, I better move it on a little further down the line. Right off the Folsom Prison, that's where we want to see. And I checked that lonesome whistle, well, my blues away. I ain't a traitor cup, she's coming round the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Well, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, time keeps dragging on, and that train keeps rolling way down to San Antonio. And that train keeps rolling way down to San Antonio. And that train keeps rolling way down to San Antonio.
Well, thank you very much, Ronan and Neil. I hope that got you all singing, clapping your hands and stamping your feet, etc. Moving on, we have another song tune from a very popular local band comprising of three very familiar faces. Yes, folks, you've probably guessed it, it's Northern Shore, who are going to sing a Gallagher and Lyle classic called The First Leaves of Autumn.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Daylight turns to starlight and the seasons turn to change. I get the same old answers, but the questions still remain. We shared a brief but magic song by the first leaves of autumn. You were gone. Not until the rain has touched my face, not until the first leaves fell from space, not until that moment did I see. I never realized what you meant to me. From the days you filled with sunlight to the laughter in your eyes, to the making and the breaking of the day you said goodbye.
Thanks Northern Shore. It's always a delight to hear you folks having a go. Funny, I was thinking there, my mind's preoccupied by autumn. We were having a discussion the other night about when does autumn officially start. And it turns out there's all sorts of traditional things about it, when the first leaves fall, this, that and the next thing. But I don't know if there's actually a date that you say that's autumn started. So as far as we're concerned, it just starts. When it starts doesn't matter too much.
When the first geese start flying south.
Fair enough.
Alright.
Well, next is a good friend to Portsoy, who's always welcome at the Bothy. This is a very well-known, in fact, she's welcome anywhere, Portsoy, Aberdeen, Aberdeenshire, the lot. She's a fiddler, and a whole lot of you all know her. She's a very well-known fiddler, and her name's Carl Anderson, so there's no secret in it any longer. And she's going to give us some top-class fiddling on the fiddle, and she'll tell you all about the tunes herself. She knows a lot more about them than I do. So go on yourself, Carol.
Oh, I'm going to play a set of reels this time. The first one's an American tune, and it's called Quince Dillon's High D. And I learnt it from a woman called Sheila K. Adams, who is an amazing banjo player, storyteller, singer, and amongst other things, and is from North Carolina. And when I learnt the tune, it just happened to seem to fit nicely with these other two tunes, which I always played together anyway. So the other two are The Old Fiddler, which was written by Billy McGuire for the late great Bert Mudie, who was an amazing mentor to lots of us back in the day in Aberdeen. And then the third tune even, is called Sean Maguire's Reel, and it was written by Bert. So I hope you enjoy.
Carol, that got the feet tapping. Now how better to follow Carol's great fiddle tunes than with a song called A Song for Fiddler's Green from County Down-based duo Phil Campbell and Tom McFarland.
Hello everybody, you're very welcome to our studio just outside Rostrevor. We're delighted to be coming to you this morning to say hello from Rostrevor. We're thinking about all our friends far and wide, and we're staying indoors and keeping safe, and we hope you're doing the same and that everybody belonging to you is keeping well and safe.
Yes, and we're here, we're going to do a couple of songs for you, maybe try and cheer you up a wee bit.
This is one that Tom wrote the words for a couple of years back. Our festival, Fiddler's Green Festival, always starts at a clearing halfway up the mountain, and this song is really about the walk and the picnic that we have and the people that we think about up there who come from all over the world to join us.
Just I can see all the faces of all the people every time I sing this, so here we go. Walking here together to gather on the green. The beauty of this place we have brings us here to sing, holding all our thoughts and our connection to the past. Is it a year since we've been here? Time goes by so fast. The melodies are here to share, the sounds everywhere, and thoughts still linger in the air. Of friends no longer here. The tunes are carried on the breeze, alive among the trees. We're all here in Rostrevor, at home on Fiddler's Green.
We come from different places, and many travel far, to sing a song or tell a tale and open up our hearts. The young and older side by side, we all join in together here to sing it just for you.
The melodies are here to share, the sound is everywhere, and thoughts still linger in the air of friends no longer here. The tunes are carried on the breeze, alive among the trees. We're all here in Rostrevor, at home on Fiddler's songs we sing are old and new, all welcome here today. Sung in different languages, they take us far away. We all come here as family, with hugs and harmony, and the friendships that we're making now give lasting memories. The melodies are here to share, the sound is everywhere, and thoughts still linger in the air of friends no longer here. The tunes are carried on the breeze, alive among the trees. We're all here in Rostrevor, at home on Fiddler's Green.
Faces smiling all the while, we hope it doesn't rain. We share love of this place and pray it will remain somewhere to return to, and sing an old refrain, and break some bread and raise our heads and sing it once again.
The melodies are here to share, the sound is everywhere, and thoughts still linger in the air of friends no longer here. The tunes are carried on the breeze, alive among the trees. We're all here in Rostrevor, at home on Fiddler's Green. We're all here in Rostrevor, at home on Fiddler's Green. We're all here in Rostrevor, at home on Fiddler's Green.
Well, thanks Phil and Tom. I fair enjoyed that. I like the tasteful use of the boran there. Didn't have any banging and thumping, it was just nice and supportive. Now we're going to have a 5-minute break, during which you can do whatever you like. if you're quick, and remember to wash your hands. There will be a screen timer up on your own screen during the break so that you can watch the 5 minutes disappearing and you won't miss the start of the next half. And that's about the size of it. We'll see you all we'll see you all in 5 minutes.
Row, row, row in a wa.
As long as we're winning, we dinna care noo.
Row, row, row in a wa.
I rode wi' a quine she said was a sailor.
Row, row, row in a wa.
The bigger she gets, she's more like a whaler.
Row, row, row in a wa.
The skipper was knocking a fair holly rocket.
Row, row, row in a wa.
And he couldna row for his own. It's tune to be a play, my bonny bow fiddle. If you play the tune on the sea, it's tune to be a play, my bonny bow fiddle. Will you play a tune for me? If you play so airs, my bonny bow fiddle, to drone the squadron.
1991. We must stand for our rights with the glass and the gun. So we'll set up some cannon on Portsoy's port wall, and we'll fire 15 balls to the sea. Then come one and come all to the good old Scotch arms. Drink my health, I'll drink yours, and we'll stand no alarm. Yes, I'll drink with you, brother, for we'll work for each other and not rest till our children are free.
An ocean and a drop of dew, ice cream on a free weekend. The bothy, the boats and the hall, a feeling you found a friend. Only 10 miles from Banff Macduff, home to harbour a few.
As strong as a breaker, as douce as a calm, sung with the surge of a prayer or a psalm, to take you and me through a perfect storm. Will you be a song to sail in? Will you be a song to sing?
Our message bag in hand, fit like the day the weather's fine, foo's often mechty gran. The butcher shop for biling beef met in wi' muggy reed. Aches and pains she has them a chalblains and flechy heed. Sign Lizzie Donald's bakery shop for butteries, bops and scones. And here's that Willie High's run off wi' florist Betty Jones. The druggist then for aspirin and pile cream for her bum. Where you could tell at a glance surrender was offered, they hadn't a chance. So the drug went woof, the gun went pop. Nae surrender, nae retreat, nae stop. Stand your ground, let's tack her on. Gie 3 cheers and let her run. Full speed ahead and awa we go, steaming through the Strait o' Otranto. Barking mad went the mascot dug.
And I am the harbour, come listen to me. I am the harbour, come listen to me. I am the harbour, come listen to me. I am the harbour, come listen.
Craigleboyne, Old Hythe, Cowhythe, Strathmartin, King's Head, East Head.
From East Sprays to West Sprays, look down on me.
So stand proud, stand tall, stand together, we are them that share our land, sea and sky. Scotia, UK, Caledonia, OK, for our land's a land for all that we say.
Well, welcome back everybody. That's us all ready to get into the second half now. Hope you enjoyed yourself since we saw you last and had a good break. Speaking of good breaks, I'm sitting here nursing 2 broken ribs that I got nearly 3 weeks ago now, just over 2 weeks ago, when I fell over a walking stick. And yes, you may laugh. Somebody said to me, well, did somebody stick the walking stick out and you tripped on it? And I had to admit, I said, no, it was my own walking stick. So, I think they're pretty dangerous. I haven't walked with one since. But that's a long story, I'll explain it to anybody later. But here we are, second half. So let's have a lovely start to the second half. Just shut your eyes and let your mind wander while you enjoy Maggie Spiers singing Yon High Hills.
Hello, Maggie Spiers, and this song is I'm a Peer Roving Lassie. It's a song that a lot of people used to sing. I haven't heard it for a wee while. So. I'm a peer roving lassie, and my fortune's been bad since I fell in love with a young sailor lad. I was courted sae early, by night and by day, and the lad I loved dearly lies a distance away. When I looked on high hills, and my laddie's nae there, when I looked on high hills, it makes my heart sair. When I look on high hills, and a tear blends my ee, for the lad I loved dearly lies a distance frae me. Well, it's friends and relations, they have all joined in one to part me and my true love. They have done all they can to part me and my true love. They have done all they know, but the mair I see o' him, I will love him more so. When I looked on high hills, and my laddie's nae there, when I look on high hills, it makes my heart sair. When I look on high hills, and a tear blends my ee, for the lad I loved dearly lies a distance frae me. Well, a bunch of blue ribbons to my love I'll prepare, and through through the long summer, I'll gie him to wear, and when he returns again, I'll crown him with joy, and I'll kiss the sweet lips o' my young sailor boy. When I look on high hills, and my laddies nae fair, when I look on high hills, it marks my heart sair. When I look on high hills, and a tear blends my ee, for the lad I blue dearly lies a distance frae me.
Well, thank you for that, Maggie. I did shut my eyes and I could imagine yon hills clear as day. Well, next we're going to have a song from a good friend of folk at the Salmon Bothy. It's a great song written by Stephen Clark from Springburn in Glasgow, and it reminds us that we should welcome folk who need our help and that we're all Jock Tamson's bairns. So it's over to John Dickson for All Jock Tamson's bairns are coming home.
It's a song by Stephen Clark called Coming Home. Put a light in the window while your brother's coming home. Set a meal on the table while your brother's coming home. He'll be tired, he'll be weary, after all these years alone. He's coming home while your brother's coming home. Take the chain from the door while your sister's coming home. Open wide up your arms while your sister's coming home. Make her warm, make her welcome, before the chance is gone. She's coming home while your sister's coming home. Coming home to a land they've never been. Coming home to a place they've never seen. Coming home to a family they have never known. All Jock Tamson them are coming home. He has been angry and afraid while your father's coming home. He's been hounded and betrayed while your father's coming home. And every act of kindness a seed of hope is shown. He's coming home while your father's coming home. Bring her in from the cold while your mother's coming home. Set her down by the fire while your mother's coming home. Don't leave her standing there after all these years alone. She's coming home while your mother's coming home. Coming home to a land they've never been. Coming home to a place they've never seen. Coming home to a family they have never known. All Jock Tamson them are coming home. From Iraq and Zimbabwe while your family's coming home. From Turkey and Somalia while your family's coming home. Seeking rest and refuge like they have never known. They're coming home while your family's coming home. Coming home to a land they've never been. Coming home to a place they've never seen. Coming home to a family they have never known. All Jock Tamson them are coming home. Coming home to land they've never been. Coming home to a place they've never seen. Coming home to a family they have never known. Oh, Job Dance and them are coming home.
Well, thanks, John. That was great. I think that's becoming one of your trademark songs. Just bang it out so well. So that was a song written by a man from Springburn. Now we're going to have a song about Springburn itself and how important its industrial contribution was to the rest of the world. It's a great song. It was written and it will be performed by Bob Leslie. But just a wee bit, the company, the locomotive company up in Springburn was the North British Locomotive Company, and it was formed in 1903 by a merger of 3 Glasgow locomotive companies. And in 1907 they employed 8,000 workers, and by 1960 they employed just over 2,500. And all these figures were pushed into me as a child because my grandfather was their maker's man out in Egypt, and he used to commission the locomotives and show the people in Egypt how to work them, I suppose, how to drive a locomotive. You know, so it's this song I particularly like because I can just see my grandfather, he would have loved it. So it's over to Bob Leslie for The World Came to Springburn.
And as it turned out, my grandfather had worked during the war building locomotives, not all by himself, of course, it wasn't that strong, but he'd worked there before and during the war, before it was converted into the college, which occurred sometime in the late 50s, early 60s, I think. And a chap leaned over and said, "Would that not make a song?" And I cursed him, and then mentally, and didn't want to start a fight in the bar, so I did it mentally. And then I went home and banged my head against the wall until this came out, and I hope you like it. It's called The World Came to Springburn. Oh, my grandfather worked on the big locomotives, put his bib and brace and boots on, off to Hyde Park every day. He built steel shining giants to bind our world together in the age of steam that seems so far away. My mother said the young ones stood there cheering as some gleaming black leviathan was rolled out of its bay to be carried to Australia, India or Egypt, for the world came to Springburn in its day. For a time before the war came, my uncle stood beside him, tagging on the family business, as they would wryly say, and the 7 hills would ring out to the sound of thousands working, children singing in the back courts as they played. When winter would go sliding on their satchels down the hill at Paddy Orrs, high above the company gates, and the streets were full of people, and the people full of purpose, for the world came to Springburn in its day. Though the war was won, the factories foundered, for diesel conquered steam, and the work just fell away. And my mother's people scattered, as so many Scots before them, West Australia, South America, all through the USA. Now for 20 years I worked there, in the same place as my forebears. But now it's called the college, where the youth are shown a trade. But there's precious little work still, and they've torn down half the buildings, and the wind blows through the spaces they have made. Westminster's man said he'd solve all the troubles, but it's hard to credit anything he'd say, for he was down in London climbing up the ladder to a lordship, with Springburn just a step along his way. But the world came to Springburn in its day. Thank you.
Well, Bob, that was a very nostalgic song, particularly for Ron sitting here, reminded him very much of his grandpa. So, and speaking of Speaking of nostalgia, here's a nice song written by a feral Glasgow shipyard worker who was a welder and took a career change and made it quite big in the world of entertainment. In the song, he's spending time reflecting on life and being thankful for everything the great city gave him. If you haven't guessed, his name was Billy Connolly. It still is Billy Connolly. And the song has been sung by another Glaswegian, the one and only Bob Sharp.
Oh, I wish I was in Glasgow with some good old friends of mine, some good old rough companions, some good old smooth red wine. We'd talk about the old days and the old town's sad decline, and drink to the boys on the road. That good old place I miss so much now, see some better days. Yet still we talk about it as we go our separate way. Glasgow gave me more than it ever took away. It prepared me for life on the road. I was born in Glasgow, in the west end of the town. I would take you there and show you, but they pulled the old place down. And when I think about it, it's enough to make you frown. They bulldozed it all to make a road. A cleaner, my granddad drove a tram, my father was an engineer. They made me what I am. They've seen the city come and go, still they give a damn. There's so much to learn on the road. That good old place I miss so much now, see some better days. Yet still we talk about it as we go our separate way. Glasgow gave me more than it ever took away. It prepared me for life on the road. I belong to Glasgow, that's how the old song ran. Ask anyone who's been there, you will understand. You can take the man from Glasgow, but not the Glasgow from the man. It prepares you for life on the road.
Well, thanks Bob, that was great. Got me all homesick now. I belong to Glasgow. Time now for a rendition of a song written by another Glasgow lad. Oh, got a wee Glasgow corner here, Springburn, Glasgow, quite natty. Alistair MacDonald, you must all remember Alistair. He's still battering them out, good style, great guy. He's been around for about 200 years. But he's still singing away there and he's full of life. But he noticed that there were very few, if any, songs covering what was one of the saddest periods and saddest events, in fact, in Scottish history, when the Jacobite cause came to a sad and gruesome end on Drumossie Moor in 1746 at the Battle of Culloden. I don't know why it was called the Battle of Culloden and no the Battle of Drumossie.
Well,
but they decided to call it the Battle of Culloden at Drumossie. So anyway, it's over to Drumossie with Alyson and Neil MacConnachie for a lovely song written by Alistair called Culloden's Harvest.
Cold winds on the moors below warm the enemy's fire glows. Black the harvest of Culloden, pain and fear and death grow. 'Twas love of our prince drove us on to Drumossie, but in scarcely the time that it takes me to tell, the flower of our country lay scorched by an army as ruthless and red as the embers of hell. Cold winds on the moors blow, warm the enemy's fire glows. Black the harvest of Culloden, pain and fear and death grow. Red Campbell the fox did the work of the English. MacDonald in anger did no work at all. With musket and cannon against honour and courage, the invading men stood while our clansmen did fall. Cold winds on the moors blow,
memory of father and son turned out of their homes to make shelter for strangers. The blackest of hours on this land had begun. Cold wind on the moors blow, warm the enemy's fire glows, black the harvest of Culloden, pain and fear and death grow.
Well, thanks Alyson and Neil. That's a real tear-jerker. Great performance. Thank you. We're all enthusiastically following Albert's adventures, and this man makes sure that we're kept up to date with them. He and Albert are both great supporters of folk at the Salmon Bothy and are regular contributors to the Friday Night Frolics show. So for this week's instalment, it's over to Paul, the builder, Mudie and Albert.
Hello again, and welcome to another week of Albert's Adventures. This last weekend down here was pretty hot, and the place was heaving with visitors. Not quite what we wanted, but it reminded me that Albert went at Seaside once. And this one's by Peter Higginbotham. There's a famous seaside place called Sellafield that's noted for nuclear waste. So Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom and their son decided to visit the place. A grand little lad with young Albert, in his tracksuit and trainers, reet nice, and a Sony stereo Walkman from Woolworths last Christmas, half price. They didn't think much at Thorshan. The sea were all frothy and pink. There were no fish, no birds and no people. Why, it almost made you think. So, seeking for some entertainment, they visited the nuclear plant, where they'd particles, X-rays and ions, and other delights to entrant. Now Albert had heard about ions, how they're kept as safe can be. So he goes through this door marked, "No admission." He just thought it meant it were for free. Inside were all pipes and ladders, and dials and buttons to push. So Albert, being an inquisitive lad, tried them all out in a rush. An alarm bell then begins ringing, and folks all around start to run. But Albert, still wearing his Walkman, was quite unaware of the fun. In snack bar, Mr. Ramsbottom was asking the woman, "What are these?" "Oh, they're called Sellafield sandwiches. They're made with reprocessed cheese." Then on Tanai come an announcement that although nothing were wrong, all visitors had to leave pronto, so please could they hurry along? "Where's Albert?" cried Mother in panic. "I thought he's too quiet to be true. I hope he's not got into mischief with him and his new trainers too." And the chap in the white coat assured them it was only a practice drill, but another started to mutter about some place called Chernobyl. The daylight were fading quickly, but Ramsbottoms were demanding the truth. Then, out at darkness before 'em, emerged a luminous youth. It finally dawned on young Albert that something wasn't quite right when his stereo Walkman had melted and his tracksuit gave off a green light. Now, men from the plant were really sorry that the Ramsbottoms had had such upset. They refunded their admission money and asked to forgive and forget. The newspapers later reported an amount microscopically small of radiation had been admitted, but no staff were affected at all. Now, when Albert recalls his adventure of that fateful day at the seaside, beneath his stereo Walkman, he really glows with pride. What will he get up to next? Well, keep safe and we'll see you again.
Right, thanks Paul. Some guy the Albert. These stories are great. We wait for it with bated breath every week to see what he's been up to. His next escapade will be next week, so we'll just have to wait. Now we're going to have a song from Doug Hay, and it's a song originally made famous by a Portsoy lad by the name of Jimmy McBeath, and since then by many, many others, including Hamish Imlach and the likes. My hands are somewhat tied in that I can't really give the song the introduction I would like because I'm sitting too close to my wife, and if I did give the introduction I would like to, there would be bound to be a row. So take it away, Mr. Hay.
Now here's a wee song for you. It's called There's Bound to Be a Row. It was made famous with the great Jimmy McBeath. For buried at Portsoy, and for we usually have our hall as a dedication on a Friday night to Jimmy McBeath. So this is my wee dedication to him, and I think to Bob Phillips. I'm sure Bob asked for this a long time ago, but I've just got round to kind of learning it. So here we go. There's bound to be a row. I'm a poor unhappy married man. I've got enough a wife to please her idea I can, but still she plagues my life. If I do everything that's right, she'll find a fault somehow. And if I stay out all night, well, there's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. I do all in my life for to please my wife, but there's bound to be a row. She wakes me in the morning in a very cruel way. She kicks me on the floor, but not a hard word do I say. I have to wash my stockings and shirts and fronts, I vow. And if I don't wash hers as well, there's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. I do all in my life for to please my wife, but there's bound to be a row. She's taken in a lodger, he's single by and by, and I have to make room for him and on the sofa lie. They eat the meat, I get the bones, it don't seem right somehow. And if I say half as much, well, there's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. I do all in my life for to please my wife, but there's bound to be a row. She sometimes has a party for some friends who dine at 8, and have to hurry home from work to be in time to wait. And as they hustle me about, and I don't pee and bow, and say yes sir and thank you please, well, there's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. I do all in my life for to please my wife, but there's bound to be a row. And when I earn my wages, after working hard a week, I put up every halfpenny in, but still she has the cheek to gimme me twopence to myself, and for that I have to bow. And if I spend it all at once, well, there's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. There's bound to be a row. I do all in my life for to please my wife, but there's bound to be a row. There we go. I was bound to be a row. Hope you enjoyed that.
Well, thanks Doug, that was terrific. Always great to hear you singing away there, mate. Really enjoyable. I'm just trying to decide if Doug's got a particularly large head or a particularly wee bonnet. I'll need to investigate that. So folks, that brings us to the end of the show. But before Anne and I finish off the night, I would like to thank the regular and guest performers who have taken part in tonight's show, and everyone involved in putting the whole thing together. Special thanks as usual have to go to Graham Legg, Mike Blackburn and Bob Sharp, who although they might not look it, are very clever people, and they supply the technical brains required to make the whole thing run smoothly, and I think they do a great job. And a big thanks of course to every one of you for, I was going to say coming along, but you haven't really come along. A big thanks to every one of you for just watching the show in the comfort of wherever you're watching it from. So stay safe, stay well, until we can all meet again. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. Stay, oh, my tongue doesn't work.
I can't speak any longer. We'll finish off with a song called Fine Flowers in the Valley. Thanks folks, good night. Right, you all set?
I'm all set, you all set? She sat down below a thorn,
Fine flowers in the valley,
and there she has her sweet babe born.
and the green leaves they grow rarely.
Smile, Missy sweet, my bonny bairn, fine
flowers in the valley,
and you smile so sweet, you'll smile me deed.
and the green leaves they grow rarely.
She's taken out her wee penknife,
Fine flowers in the valley,
and when the sweet babe oh its life,
and the green leaves they grow redly.
as she was going into the church, fine
Flowers in the valley,
she saw a sweet babe in the porch,
and the green leaves they grow rarely.
oh sweet babe, and thou wert mine,
Fine flowers in the valley,
I would clad thee in silk said fine,
and the green leaves they grow rarely.
oh mother dear, when I were thine,
Fine flowers in the valley,
you did not prove to me so kind,
and the green leaves they grow